morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever, whomever, however, wherever you shall be watching the video. This video came late, again, another late one, I know. But usually when I'm working, I usually just I'll wake up, get ready for work, and then go to work, and get out. So it's really nothing interesting today. Turn that down so you can hear me better. Nothing really interesting today. Tomorrow I'll be off. Well, tomorrow I'll be working again, and then I'll be off for the next couple of days. And I'll have these videos out sooner rather than later. There's really not much for me to really talk about. I guess other than if I had to think of something, I'll say, if you don't know this about me, and if you haven't really looked through my YouTube channel, the content that I typically post, besides a lot of speaking videos of me. Oh, it got dark. Turn the light on so you can see me. So, I'm a big space guy. I like space, outer space, rockets, science, technology. Really just learning. I would say I'm a rather proactive self-educator, self-learner. Meaning I find it easier to learn on my own whim than sitting in a traditional classroom reading a book or something. Big space guy. Been that way since I was about 14 or 15. One thing I've been keeping track of is SpaceX's progress. SpaceX being Space Exploration Technologies. It's a company that makes rockets, also launches satellites. They have their own satellite internet service called Starlink. Mostly a space-based company. They also do crewed missions, so they send astronauts to the International Space Station with the Dragon capsule, Crew Dragon. So one thing they've been working on as of late is a prototype rocket called Starship. They're just about to get ready to launch their first test article. They call it a test article because it's not technically a regular use, finished, so to speak, rocket, meaning not meant for commercial purposes or anything like that. So Elon Musk had tweeted there's a possibility that they could launch their first prototype for their first orbital test flight in late February to early May, if everything goes well. So one of the things that they still have to do is do a full wet dress rehearsal. A wet dress rehearsal is basically pretty much everything counted down as if they were going to launch the rocket minus the actual ignition of the rocket. So they'll fill it with propellant, do a full-on countdown, get to 0, and then that's it. No actual launch. That's a wet dress rehearsal. It's pretty much like a rehearsal. Well, it's a rehearsal basically. If you ever been in a play, I'm sure you know what a rehearsal is, or a play, or whatever the case may be. So depending upon how this test flight goes, if everything goes according to plan, their next test article will be different because they're not going to be reusing this first one. Will be, I would say, likely another orbital test flight, if anything. Maybe they'll test their chopsticks. Chopsticks is what they call their launch tower's catch arms, because it's kind of like a grabber. Looks like chopsticks. So the intent with that one is to actually catch a booster out of the midair versus just landing with landing legs, kind of like what they do with the Falcon 9, minus their landing legs. So they'll have pretty much their launch tower catch it right out of the air. That's going to be really interesting. The likelihood of success for that is very slim. So it's likely that a catch will not be successful on the first or second try. But then again, this is SpaceX. They pretty much nailed down the landing aspect of it, meaning getting the booster to the right spot shouldn't be all that difficult. It's just a matter of coordinating the chopsticks to actually catch it. I think if anything, what's likely to fail is that the chopsticks probably won't be able to engage it quick enough, and therefore causing the booster to crash and burn. So that's going to be interesting. Who knows when that's going to happen? Probably months and months from now. Other than that, that's my subject for today. Just a little bit more about me and my interests. I hope that gave you some insight into typically what I'm interested in. Remember, everyone, you matter. You mean the world to people. If you're going through something rough, just remember that it's temporary and that it'll pass, it'll subside. You just got to remember that. All storms eventually pass. Find somebody, if there's somebody in your life that is known to be by your side through thick and thin, hang on to them. They're keepers. In this day and age, you need people like that. The more people you have like that in your life, the better. Because when things get rough, you shouldn't have to necessarily go it alone. I mean, there are certain things in life that you do have to face alone. You could say it's just more personal, mental battles maybe, or maybe certain consequences. But then again, that's where forgiveness will come in. Forgiveness is not always easily given to someone else, and it's not always easily given to yourself. Because and the reason why it's not easily given to yourself, because you hold yourself to a standard to which you feel like you failed. You set a high standard for yourself. There's nothing wrong with having high standards. It's more the fact that it's more in how you are able to bounce back from certain problems. So there was a saying in a book. I'm not going to name the book because it's it has a bit of it has a bad word in it. And for the sake of not getting flagged by YouTube, it's just say you can pick and choose the problems in your life. There's certain things that you should tell yourself, hey, is this a problem that I would want, and is the consequences of that problem, whether that be, well, let's say the positive and the negative, is that something that you'd want to have to go through, experience? Is it worthwhile versus the alternative, let's say doing something else or just not acting at all? Because there are consequences for not even acting. So for not acting on something, or not doing something, or refusing to do something. So it's like you got to weigh your options. You pick and choose. You do have the choice. They say that, well, you don't have really any choice in this life, that everything's preset. Well, again, that's my personal opinion. I think you do have some semblance of choice. Maybe not. You don't have complete control over the choices that you have to make. Sometimes you're held to something depending on the circumstances in your life, and you have to make these specific set of choices or decisions. Weigh them accordingly, weigh them carefully, and then hang in there. Other than that, I would appreciate you. I appreciate you for taking the time to watch this video. Your time is precious and valuable and means the world. Time is the only currency that I can really say I cherish more than anything. because you can't really spend your time on can't spend time to buy material things. You only spend time to make money to buy material things. So it's like, weigh your options, weigh your choices and your reasoning. If that makes any sense. I'm tired. I got some sleep last night, but not a lot. So thanks for watching. You have a great rest of your night or day, or wherever how you're watching this. Take care.